Well, no one likes to admit that things end. We fear breaking up with someone. We fear changing jobs. We fear the death of a loved one. And these fears and these concerns are legit. But as much as we fear and we worry, no matter how much we try to control it, everything has an expiration date in this world, including us. You know, the average human lives around 80 years, so we have to figure out within the average human life expectancy, 80 years, how can we continue to move forward? Because if we try to hold on too long to something, if we try to hold on too long to a relationship, too long to a job that maybe we're called to go to a different job or whatever it may be, if we try to hold on too long to a pet that's suffering in very old age and we're scared to put it down because it will mean the end. I've been through these things and they're painful and everyone has to figure them out, but there's an expiration for everything in this world. It's the way it is. You can fight it. You can hate it. But at the end of the day, you must accept it. And so it is with the nomad life. At least for me and in my experience in watching other people. This nomadic life is one of the most interesting, unique, self-helping lifestyles if you choose to live it the right way. And if you get a little bit lucky, like everything, because you have to maintain your health. But the real blessing of the nomadic life is the huge amount of flexibility, freedom, and self-exploration to find your next step in life. Because it's of my belief that after a certain amount of time on the road, there's going to be something drawing you to another level of yourself. You can suppress that for a while, and you're not going to be ready for a while. When I first hit the road, I was not looking for a home base. I was enjoying the freedom of no home. And a home base may not mean you have to own property, but there comes a point, I would say between 3 to 5 years, if you full-time nomad, that you want to get off the road. Why? Because the road is a conduit. It's a place to travel from one place to another. And you can circle around the same places, and you can do that. But eventually, you say to yourself, I'm wasting more energy avoiding the next season of my life just to hold on to something that has already served its purpose. One of the hardest things psychologically and emotionally is to let go and to accept the end. And I'm struggling with it myself. I'm not preaching on some high pedestal here. I'm saying that in all these different areas, when it came to changing a job for a better job, I was so scared I went back and forth for a month. When it came time to put down my pet, I went back and forth for a month. And even up to the last day, I canceled the appointment. But when I saw her throwing up blood, I said, I can't let her suffer anymore. Even when it comes to a relationship, you can try to convince yourself of all these reasons why to stay. But at the end of the day, when you are even at that point of contemplating getting out of a relationship, the relationship's over. It's over. Because once you're there mentally, you never go back to not wanting to get there again mentally. In my opinion, my experience. And so now as I get to that point, that end point, the end of the road, living in a car, and I look at home bases, and I have been looking for over a year now, and I've been going back and forth, but that's what it takes to get where I need to get. I need to be indecisive until I'm decisive. Remember, I'm single, no pets, no kids. I've worked, I maintained a job. It's my money. I make decisions on my time. And I take authority over my decisions, even if my decision is to make no decision. And I have the right to do that because I share my life. And even if I didn't share my life, you have a right to do that as an adult. It's your life. But I know, and those who know me and care about me and, say, look, you got to take your time. Those who are at that same level with me, the only type of people I want in my inner circle. I'm towards the end of living in my car, not in the beginning. Because even the nomad life comes to an end. It served its purpose. The end is hard. The end is one of the hardest parts of anything. The end is the hardest part of a relationship. The end is the hardest part of letting go of someone you love. It's so hard. I mean, visiting my mom for a few weeks, it's hard to leave. It's hard to say goodbye. Boys to Men had that song. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. But this is life. This is this world. And so, cry if you need to, be sad, but accept it and focus your mind, capture, structure your mind, go forward. There is a relief also at the end. There will be a relief when I finally settle in the home base after all the stress of the purchasing process, of picking out the home base process. There will be a relief. There will be a next level of my journey. There will be another chapter in my life. And you say, well, what about me? I'm at the end of all my chapters. Guys, well, then there's the eternal chapter. Well, we all are faced with that. We got to take life one day at a time. But as we take life one day at a time, we got to focus on what we can control and be responsible for what journey we're on. You're not responsible for everyone's journey. Let go of that burden. That's not yours. That's God if you believe. And if you don't believe in God, then it's not yours either way. So as I sit here reflecting on my thoughts, it's that if you get to a point where you liquidate everything and get on the road, I think it's a good point. Without that point, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I don't regret anything I've done. And it's also a good thing to either maintain your income or run all the numbers so that you know you can retire. Because for me, the only reason living in a car has been a blessing is because I maintained a job and I picked up a side job. And for me, part of living on the road is to get ahead in life, emotionally, financially, etc. Again, if there was a failure, you pick up the pieces. I failed along my way on this car journey, and I had to learn to mitigate risk, risky investments, mitigate a lot of risk because you're taking a lot of risk living without a house. And now I'm mitigating the risk of living as a nomad when I don't have to, and I'm not at the point. Look, I'm just not at that point anymore where I'm at that season. It's over. I don't know the exact timeline of the home base, but I would say, again, sooner than later. And I would say if you follow any nomad for any considerable time, they will say the same thing. There may be some exceptions, but there may also be a financial reason why they keep preaching the same message, and they may actually own property. See, again, if a nomad owns property, and even the biggest ones do, Bob Wells and everything else, all they're doing is hedging their bets or staying on the road. If you buy a home base, you're doing the same thing. You could still say you love traveling, you love living as a nomad, but you're not a nomad. A nomad is simply someone who has no permanent place to go back to. Okay, and if you own property, you have that. Okay, even if you don't use it, even if you rent it out. Okay, and so that's where this journey of me living in a car is. It's towards the end, and I believe for 99% of people who do what I do are going to end up at the same point because everything ends. Okay, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't start. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be excited about the beginning of your journey. But it does mean that you need to, just like I accepted the real, I didn't get into the nomadic life, living in a vehicle, as this delusionary state of utopia. It was a step to get to the next step. And while I wasn't sure if I ever owned property again, I still debated here and there, I think you know, closer to owning property again than not. But again, simple property, less entanglement, below my means, living where I want to live, which is in Florida, with enough flexibility to still travel if there's a hurricane or to visit someone or whatever. But the message in this video is don't live your life for the end, because then you're going to live in this state of depression and anxiety. But don't be delusional where you think something doesn't end. Everything ends in this world, everything. And it's sad, but I didn't create the world. I can't take responsibility for that. I can only share an honest testimony of what I've been through, what I'm going through, and your testimony is your greatest gift. Okay. And not some sales pitch. Okay. So I hope that by me sharing, it helped you. Okay. Because that's my thoughts at this season of my life. Peace.